Let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, Jim.
Emily Terry Conley,
Here.
Emily Crapo,
Here.
Duke Bennett,
Here.
John Marvel,
Here.
Chris Schweitzer,
Here.
Dave Patterson,
Here.
Bernice Helmick.
Okay, we have quorum, thank you. Any additions or revisions to the agenda?
Mayor, I have the bid opening minutes for the Ravenwood Studio and Design Display that Terry and I took part in. I don't know if it's appropriate now to approve these minutes or what the correct way to go about doing this is.
Committee.
Committee
should review.
We'll just hold off on that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, hearing none. The approval of the February 1st minutes. Chance to review those. Move we accept it.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Old business, update on convention center management.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so we are reporting on January business. January was a little bit lighter. We had 11 events, which accounted for 13 total event days. Attendance was about 789 people. Gross revenue was a little over 21,000 and parking revenue generated was a little over 3,000. So one of our better months for parking. This just gives you a list of some of the events that we held in January. We had the electrical union that was here. They were here for, I think, 4 days, and they were with, I'm not sure what company they were with. That company was kind of confidential, but they were doing contract negotiations. So we got to know our electrical union, local electrical union a little bit better, so which was kind of nice. Indiana Railroad does some regional meetings. They have been in Indianapolis in the past and then over at ISU. So they were here for their annual meeting, and they, I believe, are working on a holiday party with us for this year also. Hometown Savings Bank continues to come back. We did host a meeting for Vigo County School Corporation. They do a monthly principals meeting. So we hosted a meeting here. We did that meeting for them to kind of give them an idea of what we do. It was just a morning meeting so that we could kind of help spread the word through some of the associations that they may belong to. It's kind of a way for us to try to pull in more business through the school district and how those folks are attached to other things. Accelerate Indiana was here, and we had the city update with Mayor Duke Bennett through the Chamber of Commerce. Indiana Gator softball, they were here on a Sunday for kind of an awards banquet, and International Paper had a work retreat here. This just gives you some of the stats for January. In the past reports, I had another sheet that had our yearly stats. Probably in a few months I'll start putting those together, but they're basically the same stats since we're just starting off the beginning of the year. Moving to food and beverage, you know, January was a light month. We did $12,000 in gross revenue for just food and beverage alone. We had mostly meetings and banquets. We've been writing a lot of standards for our operating procedures. Now that we've got Bill as our food and beverage director, he's been working really closely with Sunny to really tighten up things in the kitchen when it comes to food costing, knowing exactly, you know, for each event that we have, you know, what we're purchasing, what we're spending, so that we can really try to hone in our margins a little bit more. During the month of January, we had all of our inventory for the facility. So everything in the building is owned by the CIB. When it comes to computers, all these tables and chairs and utensils and everything in the kitchen. So everything in the building had to be counted and accounted for. So we basically pull everything out from back of house and start sitting down and counting silverware and everything. So a big part of January was going through inventory in the facility. Kitchen took part in that too. We're working on, wedding packages, trying to come up with some all-inclusive packages. And we, started, a contract with a company called Pure Edible Oils, which is more environmentally friendly, cooking oil. It's cleaner and it's recycled basically, and it reduces plastic. So they come pick up all of our old oil, and instead of us getting plastic jugs of oil, it all comes in a barrel. They refill the barrel so that we're not using plastic. So kind of falls in line with some of our sustainability efforts that we're trying to do company-wide. We've been working with a lot of our food purveyors to get better pricing on products. You know, food costs keeps continuing to rise. Eggs just finally went down, but cost keeps going up. So Bill's been going back to all of our food purveyors and going, okay, look, I need to start getting some better prices on things. So he's been working with each one of those purveyors to get costs down on certain products that we use all the time. From an operational standpoint, all of our full-time employees were certified in first aid, bloodborne pathogens, and CPR last month. We have been accepting service agreements or bids for the elevator contract. We do need to have, since warranty is coming up, we need to have a service agreement in place. So we're trying to get all of those rates and pricing so that we can start going through those. Dawn started painting over some of the graffiti in the parking garage stairwells last month, before it was getting too cold. And then now we'll start picking back up on that a little bit too. We installed a countertop in the kitchen behind the chef's desk. She needed a little bit more space. Museum power was transfer took place January 5th. Then we had an elevator issue also on that day. So we've had a lot of calls to figure out what had happened there, and we are still continuing to do some testing. Duke Energy is actually going to come out and put a meter on the transformer, the elevator transformer, and then on one of the other power breakers, I guess, in the building, and they're gonna do some metering for a couple of weeks because what they're telling us is that we had 2 power spikes in the elevator, and then when the power transfer occurred, that happened to, I guess, fry the board, but they think that it happened between December 31st and January 4th, that there were 2 different power spikes that maybe hit that. So we're still just trying to figure out, you know, what exactly happened, how it happened. Kone is supposed to be getting us those motherboards so that we can have those inspected as well. ISF Signs came out and installed the tablet outside this boardroom. So when you leave now, we've got a boardroom, or we've got a monitor right outside this room. We also had some signs that the end fell off of the parking garage signs. They came out and fixed that. And then outside the marquee, the uplights weren't working. They had filled up with water, and so they came out and replaced those as well. We did have a freezer alarm that was going off one morning. So I reached out to Train, who is our building management system that manages, they help us like control our HVAC system. So I've asked them to see what we can do to put some monitoring on the walk-in and the freezer, so that if by chance we have a long weekend and the temperature starts to increase, we need to be able to get some kind of an alert so that we know that we don't lose a lot of money in food product if the temperatures start to rise. We've just had a few ongoing issues with the freezers, not wanting to defrost themselves, and then the fan shuts off and then the temperature starts to rise a little bit. And then staff has been going through audiovisual training. One of our initiatives is, because we are a small building and we have a small staff, we want to make sure that everybody knows how to do everything in the building. So Brady doesn't have to be here for every event to make sure that AV is going. You know, a lot of our staff should be able to set those things up. So we're trying to go through lots of trainings with our staff so that everybody's very universal. So if somebody is sick, somebody else can step in and take over and not have to worry about, you know, someone always having to be that one person that does all. For sales and marketing, during the month of January, they contracted 23 events, which totaled $63,000 in estimated future revenue. 5 of those events were in the month business, and the remainders for the rest of the year for 2023. We currently have, they had 60 leads. with leads and repeat business for 2023 and future years totaling $431,000. And almost 2,000 estimated hotel room nights, and then they had 11 contracts out when I put this report together, and that totaled almost $115,000 in revenue and another 316 hotel room nights. This just kind of goes over, you know, some of the different site tours that we've had with clients, ISU, Doric products, we've had some weddings. Ryder Logistics was here, Indiana Clerks Association. And then goes through some of the promotions and advertising. During the month of January, we had some flutes left over from New Year's, and so the sales team took those out to businesses, put candy and postcards together, and then they took those out and dropped those off. So that was what they used as a sales blitz promo item. One of the things that we had, which was kind of cool, and Terry was in the publication as well. Terre Haute Living had a really nice article on the convention center. 8 of our 12 full-time employees are all females, and so they did this really nice write-up on all of our female staff, and so it was a nice 4-page spread. So if you didn't see that, it was a really nice article to pick up. Client surveys, I put this in here so that you can kind of see what our client survey scores were through the year. After every event takes place, we send a survey to the clients that we worked with. We ask them to rate everything from, excuse me, the room set to what the parking garage looked like, how was their experience with the event manager, the sales manager, how was the food, how was the audio visual. And so we went through here and we keep track of this. We had a 44% return rate, which was really good. We averaged a 4.75 out of 5 stars in customer surveys through the year. So this is an ongoing survey that we'll keep track of. And once we get a few months in, I'll start including some of our survey scores going forward. Sometimes it takes a while to get surveys returned from clients, because once the event is done, it's not really the primary focus anymore. But I think, you know, it's kind of set a benchmark for us so that we know that, okay, that was our score this past year. We need to try to make that a little bit higher this next year. And then these are our Google review scores is at a 4.6. And then I just put in kind of what our Facebook audience is right now. You can see that our Facebook audience is more women. We've got 73% women. Median age is 45 to 54. That's kind of watching our Facebook page. And then these were just some of our posts that we had for the month of January. Not everything we post is about the convention center. We want to make sure that we're supporting our local community. We had some posts about the terminal and some other Terre Haute posts that went out there as well. We just want to make sure that we're very supportive of everyone. Getting into our numbers for 2023, we have 43 definite contracts, which total 385 hotel rooms. Gross revenue right now is 347 indefinite business. Sorry, 347,000 indefinite business. We still have 11 contracts that are out right now, which will total a little over $116,000 in business. We've got 42 tentative events for 2023, and then moving to 2024, we've got 14 proposals out for 2024 and 1 definite contract. 2 that we're already working on for 2025. Our total funnel from last week forward is 878,000 is what we have sitting in our pipeline right now. So pretty good for the beginning of the year. So we feel pretty good about that. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for continuing to follow up on the issues we have with the breaking in the building and everything. That's wonderful you're getting them solved. I know it's very time consuming.
Thank you.
And being cost minded as you are is appreciated as well.
Absolutely. I think for us, you know, our goal is to kind of run this as we would our own, you know, so we know that, you know, like we're not just gonna spend money, You know, just because it's there, we have to look at what's on the books. If we have a month that is showing that we're a down month, that's a savings. You gotta go back and you have to look at where do we have savings, because revenue has to be coming in order to be able to, you know, spend certain amounts of money on things, and so we're very frugal with how we're managing the budget. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments on that? All right, hearing none. 5.2, budget cash flow. We don't have anybody here from Baker Tilly today, but we have our report. Anybody have any questions or thoughts on that? That's just pending.
Mayor, I can take that real quick. Jason's the email, wondering if he couldn't be here this morning. He wrote, he has a conflict Wednesday morning, need to be in northern Indiana. He said we were planning to increase the museum budget a little each month to allow for additional professional fees. We also are going to show a placement order for capital projects or replacements of the $151,000 for 2023 for the information that Martell has sent. He said if there are any questions, shoot an email. We could answer them.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any financial questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. 5.3, Larry Bird Museum update.
So, lots happened in the past month. After receiving, the RFPs, the museum committee selected 2 highly qualified fabrication companies to enter. Those 2 companies being Design Display and Ravenswood Studio. The museum committee, for some of you that haven't been involved with that, besides our CIB members that are on that, I really want to thank Mark Madursky, our owner's rep, our Hilferty.
Alright. All I was doing was answering a text message, so.
Our, that's okay. Who else you want to thank there, Chris? Our Hilferty design team, has been involved in every single meeting. Our legal representatives, Brian Bosman, Doug, have been very helpful. Neil, Shelley, Brian Koistra, all, have been very helpful in the last couple of weeks, especially as we've interviewed these companies. With that being said, the museum committee has selected Ravenswood Studio as the best fabrication partner. The museum committee recommends engaging with them. We will need to finalize the contract to move forward with. It includes fabrication, testing, and installation of the exhibits for the Larry Bird Museum. Just to give you a high level, Ravenswood is located in Chicago. They've been in business since 1988. They have substantial experience in building museum exhibits, including the Chicago Sports Museum, Harley-Davidson Museum Experience Gallery, Moonshot Museum, and the Ford House Visitor Center. You're welcome to get on their website and see the work that they've done, but that would be the recommendation from the museum committee today. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's our action order. Yeah, it's okay.
If I could throw in just one comment, about our reasoning for going with Ravenswood. Obviously, they're more expensive. But in that, we get more that they offer that we felt that the other firm didn't. Mark Podursky did an excellent job representing us with these companies. And I was going through his memorandum that he sent out yesterday. And he said Ravenswood tackled more complex projects and received very high marks from the companies that had used Ravenswood. And then Roger Brown, who is involved with Ravenswood, obviously, the offer of the AV media production firm in Boston made Mark feel wonderful, as he says in here. These guys can get it done, locating material needed for media presentations or prints, getting rights and putting it all together. Give Madursky a level of some comfort. Audio visual is the next thing that's coming down the line, and it's quite expensive. Putting it all together, so we'll have to pinch pennies there as well.
Even with that being a little bit more expensive, we're still within our budget, and so we're good on that. Okay. Yep. Anything else on the museum?
No, both companies had excellent references, but, yes, Ravenswood did have, they have a lot of contacts, especially with the audio visual side, and that is a large part of the design. So that was definitely weighted heavily in our consideration.
Terry, God bless you for doing all that work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Committee, that is.
Lead on that, we appreciate that. Okay, anything else on the museum? Okay, update on legal matters.
I'll lead with the museum. So first of all, I wanted to say that Terry and Kenny really have done a great job. And we have had some grumbling about our museum advisors in the past, and Mark Madursky has stepped up, I felt, and took a very good lead role in helping the guiding committee on the right choice here. And as Terry said, they were both great choices. Regarding the budget, their proposal is not within our budget.
Oh, it's not.
It's not. So I have a substitute resolution for the one I sent out last week that preliminarily selects Ravenswood Studios and directs the committee to go back and negotiate scope of services and contract some within the budget. Okay, so
Okay.
that'll take a little bit of work, but there's some value engineering that Terry explored and Mark Madursky with Ravenswood, and then there may be some other items that we need to do, perhaps postpone, whatever. That'll be up to the committee to get within your current budget. So, but we're confident that can be done. So I don't know if I sent that so late. I don't know if that's the one, Karen. But you did put that. Okay, I brought copies just in case. It just was kind of late last night. Thank you, Karen, for that. So that will be the next step for us. Will be to work, drill down the details with Ravenswood, and then the resolution authorizes the committee to do that, and then to for the president or vice president to sign a final agreement with them. So that's in draft form already because it was part of the RFP process. Second, I have for you updates now that your committees, et cetera, are finalized. Updates for your books. I should give you one, so I can the last one there's kind of messed up there. Which includes your schedule of 2023 meetings and some special meeting items that you need to remember about the budget and some other items. It has the new appointments and terms. A few members terms up in January, and I have actually new appointment papers for the mayor that I'll get for Mises and John Marvel's signature on. Also has the mayor has selected committees that haven't changed dramatically. Terry, as the elected treasurer, will be the chair of the finance committee. She did particularly want to try to lead that effort in the museum, so the mayor has appointed John Marvel as the chair of the museum committee going forward, with Terry still being on it. And otherwise, the committee's pretty much still remaining as they were. I have a new consultant contact list for you that drops off some of the folks that were involved in the construction, other than Garmong, that remains part of the team here, and also updates some of the contacts for you all. And I've included cell numbers in there, and pretty much everybody's told me they're fine. You call them their cell if you have a particular question. question, that's Neil and her team on there. Then I have a new index of adopted resolutions, that's updated through last meeting. I think that's helpful if you know, you may not have copies of all those resolutions at your disposal, but you at least have a list and you can ask myself or Jim or Karen for a copy of a resolution if you need one. So that's just there for your benefit. This last month, we worked closely with the museum committee, both on the issuance of the RFP and the process of selection. We've been working with Neil on allocating responsibility, drilling down on the elevator incident, trying to figure out who's responsible for that. And also with the auditor on some loss recovery issues with their insurance company. So that haven't answered any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Brian? Okay, hearing none.
And my cell is always on, so John has not hesitated to use it, and Terry occasionally, Mary are always welcome.
Sure. One thing I would say is just, and John and I were talking earlier, you know, my schedule's a little different than John's was.
Yeah.
Someday I'll be retired too, and only want you in that freedom. So I need a little bit more advance notice on some of those meetings, so I apologize, right? I hit one of them, but I missed two of the museum committee stuff, but I'm pretty good about being involved in that stuff. I just gotta get it synced here with that stuff. So it's been a pretty crazy couple last weeks, but thank you guys for keeping it moving. Appreciate that.
I offered up your vice president.
Did you? Yeah, no, we'll do that. We gotta get the sync here. It'll be all right.
Oh, Mayor, I have one other item. So just looking through my to-do list for you all, there's two financial events that need to happen. Maybe they've happened already and I just didn't know about them. One is 360 needs to make the capital contribution of $275,000 to the CIB, and that is to use for the CIBs at your discretion. So as you're looking for financing or anything else those funds are available, they just go into operating whatever you like. And has that happened yet?
It's not,
Okay.
it's 175 and then it's 10,000 for the marketing. And we've tried to, Dave Anderson's reaching out to someone else at corporate to find out what the ETA is on that check. I think right now they've been wrapped up in healthcare
Sure.
benefit because all of our healthcare changed this year. And I think that's kind of been a little bit of a holdup on some things. So I think our last one was 275.
First full operating year, so it's 275 in the stub year, after the stub year. So that was this past year was the stub year.
But
We'll talk about it. I think it's
Okay.
275 this year, it's 175 next year.
okay, I was thinking that we already did the
You may have,
275
that's what I was
beginning of
asking
the
that,
stub year.
so if you,
Yeah.
so the 175 doesn't happen until after next year.
I think it gets, we'll look at it. I think it gets paid this year, beginning of this year.
6 days.
Or I don't think there was
No, you know
a
what,
specific
you're right.
date on that
Yeah,
particular one.
Okay, we'll clear that up.
Okay,
And the other way, there's also, Spectra 360 is now eligible for a qualitative incentive fee with a maximum of $25,000 based on survey, quality of service. And I think Tennille may have made a preliminary proposal for that. It's really supposed to happen within 30 days at the end of the year. But we're all friends here, so just want that on your list. So perhaps the finance committee or the executive committee ought to make a recommendation to the board on that.
Do we need a motion to approve that?
No, you need an amount. Once you've decided on an amount, yes, you will need a motion for that. But
I sent a memo to you guys yesterday and I had put in what we felt. It wasn't 25,000, but we put in an amount in that memo. If you want to go back and look at that, and then if there's anything else, what I did was I also attached our December financials, which was our year-end financials as well, so that you can kind of go through that. And I just went through all the criteria that's in the management agreement. There's like different qualifying marks, and so I went through and just kind of summarized some of those. But I think I sent that later yesterday. You probably haven't had, it wasn't for today, So I just sent it to just get it out, so at another point in time.
Okay, so we'll have that for an action item next month, then. Yeah. Okay. All right, very good. Anything else legal wise? Ryan?
Yes,
I don't think about that.
Okay, then let's move on to new business, consideration of resolution. Selection of display vendor. That's what we talked about a while ago.
So just to, Brian's point, yes, Ravenswood. Preliminary. Did have, some cost saving engineering that, we're going to work with them on, so that's how this resolution is. To get us within that budget of what the manufacturing, architectural, construction side of things we budgeted. So that's where, Mark Madursky and Hilferty, that's what the museum will be working on over the next 10 days. However, if we do engage with Ravenswood, that has to be done by March for their contract. So just wanted to let everyone know.
So that'll get worked out.
Exactly,
and then,
yes.
This resolution then allows us to go ahead and sign that.
right, it authorizes the committees to negotiate and then put,
Sign off on
president or vice
that.
president to sign it.
And maybe that we understand.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion on this agenda item?
So moved.
Okay, we have a second? Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right, so we're moving. Very good. Get that done by the 10th. Any other new business? That's the only thing we have on here, so we don't have anything else. Okay. Other business, so you got the committee appointments in there, I think we might make a little change, but we'll deal with that for the next meeting, just two little changes. Minor impact. Let's see, guess I wanted just to say a couple things first, Indiana Theater, thanks for all you were there yesterday. Great media, attention to that matter and positive feedback. I don't know what everybody else is hearing, but I got a lot of positive feedback about us being involved in that. The donation and moving ahead with doing something with the Indian Theater. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, we're gonna have some work to do as we move forward. Several pieces of things I think will come to the agenda next month for us to act upon. We're gonna have to hire somebody to take a look at the building. So Greg has offered Brian as a donation to help us through a transition of the technical side of things there. So this is gonna ramp up obviously now. We've got some legal documents we'll have to review and approve but it's all, I think it's a great story for the community and saving that building is just gonna be tremendous. So I'm glad we've got the support of this to move forward with that, but we will have want to move pretty quickly on this. So next month we'll have at least a couple of action items that I can think of in order to move ahead with that. So
Yeah, you should treat this, I'd recommend to the board, you treat this like a purchase. To do the due diligence of environmental survey, you just want to know exactly what you're getting. The environmental investigation is somewhat of an insurance policy for you for the future, that you're not responsible for existing conditions. I had anticipated, Mayor, that we would start, even though it's a donation, we would start with a resolution of interest, as though you were purchasing the property, just because we don't know the terms, all the terms at this point.
right.
So, and we can prepare that at your request for the next meeting. All those
Yeah, we'll just have some work to do there. This happened fairly quickly. Kind of knew the opportunity was there, but now we gotta do get everything in line. So I will personally kind of start pulling that together, and then we'll get those pieces figured out, so we can bring it back to the board at the next meeting. For official action.
Mayor, I'd like to say that my board, several of my board members expressed some things, one called me last night, but I think our board at the CED will be receptive to help kick it in and having a sizable contribution to that as well, so.
That'll be great. And from the city's perspective, we're looking to do the same thing. Have conversations with the county about this. Chris, any thoughts on that?
We're receptive to making a change or, whatever we can.
So we just need to get a handle on what that kind of looks like, and then I think that we're in a great spot to be able to support this. The timing is really, good. Funds are available, and that's great. That's very positive feedback.
Mayor, I'd like
Thank
to
you.
add also, if I
Yeah,
could,
no.
I was so happy to see that you involved the IDDC on that and having David Holt here. We need to really stay engaged with them because they can help us tell the story here and showcase our assets here. So I hope that's the beginning of a new relationship. I'm kind of nodding today. I know you work really close with them also, but they're trying to do a lot of things throughout the state, and I just want to be sure that we're a part of that conversation.
He was thankful that he was asked to be here, and of course, he gave me his card when he was done, and said he wanted to meet with me, because he's excited about what's going on in Terre Haute. And I think that's one of those things that we just need to take more advantage of, like you said, and we've got a meeting with Brad Chamber.
Good.
IEDC today, this
Good.
afternoon, so we'll be over there in Indy. We're gonna really try to build more relationships about all of that.
Good. I'm meeting with David tomorrow, so I'll reiterate some of the great things happening here.
Yeah, I think your point is well taken, and we need to continue to build those relationships.
Yeah, everyone, I don't know if this is public knowledge yet, but I was just informed, I don't know, last week sometime that we've had a picture of the Griffin Bike Park where the young man's flipping in the air and going into the water. That's gonna be the cover of the Indiana State Travel Guide this year. Terre Haute really, I mean, that's a huge deal, to make the cover on that. So, yeah, thanks to Elaine Beadle and Dave, her staff, that's a big deal, because then that cover makes you flip to everything else and see, it's just such a lure that we've never had, at least, not in my 29, so that's really a
Yeah.
huge plus.
Elaine was very taken with the bike park. I was with her when
Yeah,
we
they've
did
been
the
here.
tour out there.
They've been here more than their predecessors over 25 years. So that relationship's really good. We need to continue to foster.
Absolutely. And they're always looking for things to I mean, that's their role. So I think we just need to inundate them with information and opportunities. They're always highlighting day trips throughout Indiana, and we have so much to offer there. So I think if we can just stay in close communication with them, it'll
Well,
be our
and
benefit.
the other thing that may not be public knowledge, for probably 20 years, my budget was greater than the state's, which is just ridiculous. When Dave can stand up and say that we're 3% of the state's economy, the return on investment in tourism is incredible. They're, as he stated yesterday, the fact that they're gonna triple or more their budget really bodes well for all communities in Indiana, but certainly us too, so.
Well, and that's been a struggle to get the funding.
I mean, it's been underfunded most of my career, and, at some point, money doesn't fix everything, but yet you reap what you sow to some extent. And so I really think that's gonna be huge for a number of people here in the community.
But the In Indiana campaign is huge. We
Yeah.
use the same consultants that did Pure Michigan. And, that's been around for a long time, and it has legs and traction now, but it just takes a long time, and their budget is 4 times what ours is. So I think we're headed in the right direction there, but we just want to be sure we're a part of that.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. Wonderful, thank you. Okay. All right, then one other update from the feasibility study for the athletic complex, water park. The public feedback portion started this week. You all should have received an email, be able to fill out the survey. and it's being pushed out all over the community in a variety of sources this week, and it went out on Monday. But this week we'll be pushing that out, so we hope to get a lot of response to that survey, to help with that. They're working on competitive, looking at all of our competitors within an hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours of Terre Haute right now. They're kind of doing that research on the side, collect this data. They are still on track to complete this by end of April, 1st of May, and come and do a presentation in our May meeting to this group with their findings. They believe they'll still be on that track, so that's encouraging too, because it's moving right along. There's been a lot of positive feedback about all of that too, and so hopefully with this survey that's out there, we'll get a lot of additional feedback from people. So if you can pass it along to anyone out there that you get them to fill that out, the more the merrier. We'd love to have a nice response to. It takes, you know, a little bit to fill it out. I did it last night, as I was sitting at a ball game. It was a little distracting, but you have to keep working through it. You know, when we sat with them, we didn't want it to be too big, but it's thorough. Let's put it that way. If you haven't done it yet, it's very thorough. So please, help promote that and get as much responses would be the best for that. I think that's all I had. Some questions and comments from CIB members about any topic, anything we talked about or anything else? Everybody's quiet, okay?
I can add on what Dave said. Once the Indianapolis Motorsport Travel Show on Saturday, of course, it's probably 10,000 people at the state fairgrounds. Beaver County Parks and Recreation Department got rid of everything in their first 4 hours. So magazines, little keychains, stuff like that. Did you take more? Yeah. So, and that's going on again this weekend. I mean, we have a huge 75-inch TV there showing the bike park and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if we talk about that enough here in our community about things that we have.
I was talking to Gene and Donna Griffin about that very thing yesterday when they came to the Indian Theater thing. It's just like, well, and not too long ago, they brought some folks in from St. Louis area. I don't remember who, there was 3 different people there that we met with. And, you know, of course, they're thinking we've got the best bike park in the Midwest. These guys that's what they do, you know, they're just professionals in this. And it's like, a lot of people here still don't even know about it, you know, I mean, it's like everybody else knows about it. So we gotta keep working that angle. There's so many great amenities. So that's good to know, but promoting that too. That's great. They did that.
A good example of that nobody knows about it would be cross country course out there. Maybe nationwide, it's still, but here in Terre Haute.
We had $30 million of tourism business last year, right, David? Biggest
Yes.
year ever. So it's just gonna keep going up from there. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, as we create these venues, I mean, that's part of it. You have to have facilities like this, athletic facilities, sorting out the details and getting them done is the trick, you know, it's easy to bring them here. So, yeah, it's looking good. In fact, we probably had the busiest first quarter I've ever had. For a number of reasons, some of it just the cycles and the way things go, but had a number of new things coming in. We have a stretch in May, like the 20th through the 27th. We have 4 huge events in this community. And quite honestly, I wish we had 4 more hotels yesterday. You know, I mean, we're filling Greencastle, Plainfield, and we don't need to do that. We need to keep that here.
Right.
So I think we'll get there eventually, but yeah, it looks to be a banner year in 23 as well.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from anybody? This is good. Good stories. Okay, our next board meeting will be on March 22nd here in the same location, same time. I think that's all we have. We have a motion to adjourn. Okay, all in favor say aye, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.